niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood I lay my life down right now for all my sisters and brothers, because I love them. I see them dapping and hug them. It's amazing to see how well we adapt from the struggle. Born again from a life of sin, trapped in the gutter. My mind frame was to kill my own kind. Feeling inferior, waking up ready to die. Run with them killers, so it's just a matter of time. For why take your life or let you take mine? That's when I realized the slaves killing slaves while the white man live to get old. We in them graves, the shit got me feeling plain. I opened the Bible, went through them records, found out we was royalty, a nation to be respected. But in this world we rejected, we hated for our complexion. Still fighting to get accepted, we hear the truth and reject it. But love is getting corrected, and all my niggas correct me. The commandments, the foundation we erected. Brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. Hey, hey. Hey, hey.
Oh yeah, it's going down. Join us for this year's All Black Party, hosted by Commanding General Yohana and the ISUPK. This year, it's going down in Durham, North Carolina at the Durham Armory. Last year, brothers and sisters came out from all over the world. It was a packed house to celebrate the 2022 Hebrew Academy graduates. These brothers faced life and death, and as a result, they were honored on this night for their sacrifice and their victory at the gauntlet. But wait, this year, it's going down. There will be a Hebrew concert featuring Captain Akai, 144 the Rebel, King Ty, Captain Ty Ward, One Westworld, Lost Tribes, Captain Katazai, I Won Ya Allah, also known as Dope E, and Officer Natazai, UPK Natazai, and much more. It's going to be an open bar. Make sure that you get your tickets. It's going down this year, 2023, the 54th annual Passover and the annual All Black Party, hosted by Commanding General Yohana and the ISUPK.
Still blessed and still we rise.
Hey, Shalom Israel, this is a public service announcement to all the sisters out there. Y'all already know what time it is. Them Passover corsages is blooming absolutely right this year. If you a married sister, rock that red corsage. And for all the single sisters out there, the white corsage was made just for you. Stop playing. You cannot be Passover ready without rocking one of these. Just $10 to complete that fit for the Lord's 54th annual Passover. Pre-order yours now. Click the link below for more info. For just $10, I got a feeling that this is just the right batch of flowers to have you looking on point and official. Sisters, make it your business to get you one, and we hope to see you there. Shalom Israel.
So I spit choo-choo, I taste the whole thing. Taking my style, I'm far from a lane, girl, just let me put it down, baby. She on the road, can't get around in my coupe, me and you, we just cruising through the town lately. Ask me some questions, girl, do you mind? What would it take to make you mine, please? Tell me be you, and we can try. So I spit choo-choo, I taste the whole thing. Taking my style, my style. I'm far from a linger, just let me put it.
Shalom Israel. And when I mean Israel, I'm talking about the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. The Lord's 54th annual Passover is going down again this year, sundown, April 1st at 500 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Downtown Conventional Center. It's got enough room for all of us. The Lord's 54th annual Passover. Last year, brothers and sisters showed up from all over the world, rocking ancient garments and glorious apparel in order to serve the Most High in Christ. Now, it's that time again. Commander General Yohana's putting out the decree for all brothers and sisters to show up sundown, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us at the Sheridan in Raleigh, the hotel right downtown. It's at 421 South Salisbury. The Passover is right up the block at the Convention Center, literally within walking distance. Make sure you pull up. Make sure that you do your due diligence because rooms are going fast and they are limited this weekend. You understand? We have months in advance of preparation. Do not wait till the last minute to get your room. The Lord's 54th annual Passover, Saturday, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us there.
It's about time, sending curses to them enemies.
All right, Shalom. This is the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana. The ISUPK, since 1969, we've been teaching that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the real biblical Israelites, meaning the people of the Bible have descendants that are alive today, and their descendants will be blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We are the people of the book. We are the people that heard the voice of God and lived. We descend from people that walked through the Red Sea, man. So with that being said, for those of you that are new to class, we do have a school in the UK. The address is 394 Lodge Road, and the postcode is B18 5PW. The school is located in the city of Birmingham, England. All right. So with that being said, we're going to get into a history class on witchcraft. You know what I mean? Like, what a lot of people don't understand is things like witchcraft and all that. It's got us where we believe it works. And many times in the Bible, you're going to notice that, as a people, we fell into those things. We fell into enchantments. We fell into necromancy. We went into palm reading. And in today's class, through history, being a history class, we're going to show you that none of it works. So if you got any questions online, feel free to type them in, yeah, and we'll take it from him there. But just gonna ask in the class, so Mabasa, coming from the West Indies, have you known anyone that's dealt with any witchcraft, any obia, or anything like that?
That's a big menu. Loads of people, even myself, been through it too.
I'm sorry, 1 second. Volume's a little low.
Even me myself been through it.
You've been through it. Okay, so what has someone attempted to use someone you, or you went to someone that does obia, if you mind me asking?
No, somebody done it to me.
So what it worked, or you felt weird,
Well,
or something, or
I guess it didn't work because I'm here.
there you go. Now that's the point that you want. A lot of people, they believe those things work, and what you don't realize. Actually, I'll save that part for class. Let me ask the class. So, a caravan, in the islands, you heard about well, in the West Indies we call it obia. You know what I mean?
I've heard about it. And then due to one, like family member, I heard talk about, they tried about something towards man. It hasn't worked, so I never felt anything.
I got you. Now, for those of you that you never heard it on the mic, what both brothers said is it never worked. So now, as we go through the class, just keep that in mind. People pay, a sorcerer, some witchcraft woman, some big money to go and harm someone, to go and do something. And already in the class, 2 people said it didn't work, man. So, you got a witchcraft, all over the world. In the West Indies, we call it obia. In the Latino world, it's Santa Maria. You know what I mean? In Haiti, it's called voodoo. And wherever we are scattered as a people, there is some mystical art that you can use. And we're going to show you today that, yes, it's written of in the Bible, but God told us to stay away from it. Not because it works. It's because it's some mythology of the heathen, man. So if you could, Mausa, get me Leviticus 18:1.
The book of Leviticus 18, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. And after doing,
All right,
the doing
so,
of the conduct.
okay, so now the Lord is talking to who? He's talking to his chosen people. And he's telling them, listen, man, after the doings of the Egyptians and the Canaanites shall ye not do. Read on.
Verse 3. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwell, ye shall not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall he not do, neither shall he walk in their ordinance.
So now the Lord's saying, listen now, we've got out of Egypt. This is Leviticus. The second is the next book after Exodus. So we've made the Exodus. Now we're getting the law. We're getting what the Lord wants of us. And it's like, one of the laws we got is don't do after the Egyptians and the nations round about us. So the Lord's saying what they do, Don't do it, man. And what you're gonna realize is Egyptians done witchcraft, Canaanites, Hittites, Jebusites, and the Ammonites, the Moabites, all of those nations, they all practice witchcraft. What's we would call today obia, we would call today voodoo. And the Lord's saying, don't do what they do. Read on.
Verse 4. Ye shall not do any judgment and keep mine ordinance. Okay. Ye shall do my judgment and keep my ordinance to walk therein. I am the Lord your God.
And listen, and the Lord's saying, I'm the Lord your God. I mean, listen, I'm your God. And me being your God, I don't want you to do that, man. If you want anything, seek the Lord. Seek a prophet of the Lord. But don't go pay some obia, man. You know what I mean? To basically tell your nonsense anyway. You know what I mean? So read on.
Verse 6. None of you shall approach to any that is near unto kings of him to uncover their nakedness.
I got that part's going in something else. If you could give me Deuteronomy 18 and 11. Hold on, who's it? Someone come in.
I sent somebody the link to watch the video. Hopefully they are not trying to join the class.
Oh, okay.
Because the same topic we are discussing, that's the same topic they were asking me about. So I'm telling them we're discussing that same topic now.
I got
so
you.
If they want to come and get the understanding of it,
I'm with you. Oh, got you. Yeah, I think you sent them the wrong link. Like you sent them the one for being in it, but ain't no sweat. Yeah, if you send them the YouTube link, yeah, then they could just listen in, and they can type their questions in the chat. You know, if they.
YouTube.
Matter of fact, let's start from verse 10, Deuteronomy 18 and 10.
The book of Deuteronomy 18, verse 10.
Let's start from verse 10, Deuteronomy 18 and 10.
Okay, the book of Deuteronomy 18, verse 10. They shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire.
All right, so now, what a practice did the other nations have? A child sacrifice, man. And why did they do things like this? Because they believed if they gave that son to that God, if they sacrificed him, they will get good luck, man. That is witchcraft. And imagine that you kill your son for what? Like, it don't even make sense. Your son dies so you can get good luck, so you can get rich. When you having a son is the blessing. You know what I mean? And these things is concepts of man. It's people that don't know God. And with not knowing God, they do some of the most idiotic things, thinking that that gets them closer to God. So imagine this, the Lord gave you a child, which in Psalms it goes, children are a blessing. That's in the Bible. You sacrifice the son to get the good luck. That don't make sense. And that's what the Lord was keeping us from. Okay. Please. And them things was what the Lord was keeping us from. What's the word? idiocracy of these other nations, man. They did things that were just ridiculous, and they thought that was serving God. 1 second, okay. Yeah, yeah. So they believed with doing things like that, them things got them closer to God. Them things got them on the good side of God because they sacrificed their firstborn son. When that's the opposite, God's angry with you for what you're doing, and that's why the Canaanites had to go, man. That's why the Jebusites had to go. That's why the Hittites and the Amorites had to go, because those things vexed God. It didn't make him happy. Read on.
Verse 11. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Through the fire, or use it divination, or an observer of time, or an enchanter, or witched.
Okay,
Verse
so
11.
now let's break it down. So at the end of verse 10, let's break it down. All that useth a divination. Does anyone know what divination is?
It's the same voodoo.
Sorry?
It's the same voodoo. Hobia.
Yes, but this is more palm reading. You're divining, like in your life. This, on this part of your hand, that's success. And there's a baby because of that vein there coming. That's divination. And let me tell you something. This is in the Bible. Other nations been doing this ages ago. They've been using divination and palm reading and divining in people's lives. So what's going to happen in your life? And is it me? When they divine, it's always good things. Where's the heart attack, man? Where's the cancer? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying anyone should have those things, but why is it always good? Because it's not true, man. They're hustling you. Of course, listen, you can get rich from telling people what they want to hear. That's why you got the church. A lot of the success of the church is making you happy. That's what keeps the church in business. Because if the church really read the Bible and applied it, people would leave. If you told that woman in church, listen, you're with that man forever, you had sex with him, then you can't leave him, that woman would leave the church. And then she would find a church that would let her leave that man. So they go, well, listen, they'll be happy somewhere else. It's better us make him happy here so that they keep paying me. And listen, people that do obia, people that do a voodoo, and all what we call witchcraft, obia, a voodoo, that's what they're doing. This spell's going to help you, benefit you, and really they're getting rich of making you feel good. So we went through divination, and what's the other one? Or an observer of times. So what would they observer of times be? You're right, Karen. So observer of time, it would be like a mystic Meg. Like if anyone knows who she is. For those of you international, in the UK, there's a woman called Mystic Meg. I believe she died last week. It was big news allegedly. But from being young, she had this a crystal ball, and she was known for telling people what was going to happen. All of it was a lie. You know what I mean? And I'll play a video where they embarrassed her on the show, like, so what's gonna happen to me? She's like, right now the energy isn't there, man. I don't know what to say. But yeah, that's the observer of times, meaning what? To look at this ball and go, in your life in 10 years, you got this, and that. So we'll get into that as well. Let me get a video just to show show you an observer of times. All right, it's gonna play a quick video. And let me tell you something. If she really could predict what was going to happen, you know, we'll let the video speak for itself. So this is Mystic Meg. In the UK, she was a millionaire off observing times. She was rich, had shows on BBC One. You know what I mean? Done little adverts on ITV.
Dreammaker planet Neptune and Venus spin fortunes for Scorpio and Capricorn, and someone who bought a ticket at 6 p.m. today.
And gazing into the future, I foresee Jupiter, the planet of good luck, bringing surprises for a woman in blue.
And let me tell you something. You know, you can predict so much, but you didn't predict you was gonna die. You had the flu and went to hospital. You never saw that though. Stop that. Yeah, why? Because all that observing of times doesn't work. And if you notice, it said she tried to predict lottery winners. You can research it. She was wrong on all of them, man. She was wrong. She didn't predict no lottery winners. And if you know the numbers of the lottery, why don't you do it, man? Yo, Amausa, if you knew the lottery numbers, wouldn't you do it?
Of course I would.
So hang on, Mystic Meg. You know the lottery numbers, the winners, and you didn't buy the scratch card. You didn't put down the numbers.
Yeah. The funniest part of it, you know, these people who run to them and give them their money. Don't even look at it and say, "Oh well, if you can't predict number, buy it for yourself then and share the money."
There you go.
Coming to us
and listen,
these little pennies from us.
There you go. And listen, it's a scam. Mystic Meg on BBC One predicting lottery winners. Why don't you win, man? You mean why don't you do it? Why? Because she can't do it. And that's what witchcraft is all about. It's a hustle to make you believe it. And their wealth comes from you believing in them. It's not that it works. It's about them just giving you hope. And look, she couldn't, that's right, false hope, man. She couldn't predict the lottery winners. You know what I mean? She couldn't get the lottery numbers. She couldn't do anything. But guess what? Loads of people followed her, man. She had a following and she was rich. Yeah. You know what I mean? She lived a lavish lifestyle of just telling people's horoscopes and doing all these things, which doesn't mean anything. So we got the observer of times, or an enchanter. So what would a enchanter be? That's right. Someone that deals more witchcraft like a spell. If you say this 10 times, you get those bad vibes off you. If you do this, you'll get that demon off you. That is a enchanter. You know what I mean? Like what a lot of people don't know, with a lot of Erastas, a lot of the enchanting they do is from the East Indians. And really, that chanting is to ward what they call jinns off or demons. You know what I mean? Which we got from them. But that is enchanting, man. And what's the last one? Or a witch. Or what? Someone that makes a potion and go, listen, if you drink this, you know, you're going to feel this way. And let me tell you something. A lot of you women out there talking about you put some a blood in your man's soup. Your man ain't staying with you, man. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say what a kind of blood because it's a family class, you know what I mean? But a lot of you women out there, that other woman's playing you, man. If you put some blood in his food, his joint here, he's never going to leave you. Listen, why you put the blood in his food? After he ate it, he saw his second woman an hour later, man. He's not with you. Why? Because those things don't work. And you paid that woman. She didn't tell you that out of love. You went to her like an idiot and you gave her £100 and she sat you down and told you how to do it. And guess what? Your man had sex with a different woman that same night, man. The food just filled his belly and he burnt it off on her, man. That's what happened. Those things don't work. All of it is nonsense. And why does the Lord have these laws in place? So we don't hustle each other, man. None of this. The Lord ain't saying don't do it because it works. Because the Lord doesn't want us taking advantage of each other. Imagine if you believe it works. Do you know what's going to happen? I'm going to get rich off you. I'm going to be oppressing you. You're going to be giving me all your money. You're going to be giving me all you got because you believe my potion, my enchantment, my divination is going to help you. And I'm going to be hustling you. And the Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's why you can't see that Obia man. You can't see that voodoo man. Why? Because he's taking advantage of you, man. And we are a nation where the Lord doesn't want us taking advantage of each other. Read verse 11.
Okay, verse 11. Or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer.
Okay, so now we got some more. It's like you got a trooper, Mashah. I mean, from the tribe of Levi, man, priest of the Lord, kind of one con. What you are explaining right now is exactly how it is in Haiti. I'm a Levite, sir. And listen, man, you heard it from a Levite himself, man. Heard it from a priest. That, you know what I mean? That's what happens. You know, all that in the West Indies, whether it's a voodoo or it is a obia, it's really people taking advantage of each other. You're being hustled. You don't see this person for nothing. It comes with a fee. You know what I mean? He's not giving you this a breakdown from the goodness of his or her heart. It comes at a price. Yeah, good.
Even in Jamaica, when you see some of these people call themselves Obia man, if you see the house that they have, and the people who are going to them living in one like a wood room or something where ground floor. When you're going, you have to carry like one goat, one chicken, one bag of rice. All kind of you don't know, say you fill up in grocery store.
Meaning, really, he's hungry. it ain't got nothing to do with the witchcraft. He's hungry. Like, listen, I'll do this for you. Yo, man, get brethren, man. I need some rice, some chicken, some goat. You know what I mean? Listen, you're feeding his belly. He's got nothing.
You might go use rice and for catch the ghost and for enchanting with whatever meat and.
Listen, that is hustling right there. Listen, you know what I mean? Listen, man. He's acting like, listen, I need the goat because I'm gonna cut his neck. I need the blood now, man. He's making a curry goat, man. He's making curry goat, and guess what? The rice is his counterpart, man. Now you see, you're being hustled in your mind. All right, so for the witchcraft, I need the goat, I need the chicken, I need the rice for God knows what. Listen, man. I'm gonna tell you something, man. Listen. You made him make Sunday dinner. That's what really happened. And you see, it's also he don't want the money. It's true. So hang on. He lives in a a bedroom house, not knocking him. His resources ain't great, and for allegedly what he needs of you for this witchcraft to work, it seems a bit ironic. You know what I mean? That he needs food, and for this obia to work, you just happen to bring him a goat, a chicken, rice, peas, seasoning. You know, I don't know. You know what I mean? It just sounds a bit. You know what I mean? It sounds a bit weird because it don't work. You know what I mean?
No,
Really,
you don't have to go to the corner shop to buy a grocery because you're bringing him a whole month there.
you might as well, man. If I want to tell you, listen, I'll do the obia. If you just run shop, just get me this. You know, it would just make more sense. But it's a hustle. You gave him food for that 3 days, man. Because you know what I mean, a goat is kind of big, so that meets a week. You say like the goat might last him a week, might last him a month.
More.
There you go, man. That goat's gonna last him a long time. You see, so he hustled you for food for ages, man. It's a joke. I got a comment. Shalom said, but what of people who say they actually see ghosts? Did they really see it, or is it an illusion? All right, hold on to that. I'm going to get into that as we go on in the class. I did have a question that a lot of people say in mind as well. So in verse 11, or a charmer, so meaning someone that they charm you, man. Like I said, to tell you what you want to hear. Or a consulter with familiar spirits. What does that mean? A spirit in your family. I can talk to your dad. If you just pay me £100, or you give me the goat, the chicken, the rice. You listen, man. You know what I mean? I can tap into that realm. I can talk to your father again. No, they can't, man.
Bring me 2 bottles of white rum and I can sprinkle around.
You should buy me the rum and coke, Bridget. Listen, man, you know what I mean? I have you talk to your dad in no time. Yeah, sure. Yeah, man. You know what I mean? And so there's people, they believe, you know, listen, man, I know your dad died and I can make you talk to him again. That is familiar spirits. So, of course, the Lord's saying we can't be a nation that does that. A wizard, meaning that's a male version of a witch, or a necromancer, meaning someone that raises the dead. The body's clearly dead, and they believe, you know, they can resurrect that person. Now, of course, with Christ, he did it with the power of the Lord. But outside of that, no one can raise the dead man. In Africa, you know, people say, you know, my chief priest in the village raised someone from the dead. That's a lie. He didn't do it. The person was alive anyway. You know what I mean? So all of that is a lie. And why doesn't the Lord want us doing it? Is it because it works? No. The Lord doesn't want us doing it. Why? Because the Lord doesn't want us being a nation that takes advantage of each other. And that's really what it comes down to. Like I showed you in the video, Mystic Meg, she was a millionaire of just telling people what they wanted to hear, of faking lottery numbers and lottery winners and doing palm reading and astrology and, you know, all of those things. And she was a millionaire. And there you go, man. She was selling lottery tickets that sell all 10 grand and all that, when she can't predict the numbers. And think about it. If you know the lottery numbers, why don't you do it, man? That's easy money. You know, if you can tell the lottery numbers, shit, why am I going to work every day? You know what I mean? If you can do that, why? Because she can't do it. Read verse 12.
Verse 12. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord thy God doeth drive them out from before thee.
There you go. So the Amorites, the Hittites, the Jebusites, the Canaanites, the Hivites, they done palm reading, they done necromancing, they done charming and obia and witchcraft, and the Lord hated it. And that's why the Lord kicked them out of the land for all their abominations. And the Lord doesn't want us doing this. You can, and guess what? Is it far-fetched? No. In Africa till this day, in sub-Saharan Africa, there's a witch doctor. And listen, they got all the cows, Emosa. They got all the chickens. They got everything. Why? Because they rob everyone else. Everyone goes to them for, listen, man, I'm feeling sick. I got a demon on me. And, he does some nonsense. And listen, that sickness isn't gone. You know what I mean? He's hustling you.
This guy that live in my lane, he used to take sugar from the factory and sell it to us on the local community. And because he worked at 10 to 6 and 9 and 2 to 10, his body run down. So I was passing through his house, his yard, and it said to me, "Boy, I feel like something wrong with him." I said to him, "You sure you get enough rest and take some high-end tablet and things like that?"
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes these when it shift change, you kind of have a effect on your body, And he wouldn't listen to me until a friend tell him to go and do that, to try that witchcraft foolishness. When he come back, the man charging couple grand well, and tell him to go home and drink this and drink that and eat that. And that's all he did. And his body was okay.
So why do you have to pay him all that money to be told to eat this and drink this when, guess what? You told him for free. It's a hustle. So he went to a Obeah man, and even the Obeah man told him just rest, eat this, and drink that. See, it's a hustle. There you go, man. You know what I mean? He paid his bills, man. Out all that money, and it's a hustle. It does not work. You know what I mean? It's got nothing to do with working. God's not afraid of it. God doesn't want us taking advantage of each other. How are we gonna love each other? How are we going to live in harmony? I'm just using that word. If you're abusing me, you know what I mean? You're claiming to be this, you know what I mean, man that can talk to my dead dad. And you're robbing me because, I miss him so much. And the Lord doesn't want that. Saki, you had something?
Evening farming, the same thing Craft said, Clarendon. This man was so lazy. He goes to bush every day, and when you go over his bush, you don't see nothing with it. But when he sees his neighbor's ground, because the neighbor clean his ground and plant up enough stuff, he went to the Oberman and tell the Oberman, say his neighbor, I tried to keep him down because when he go bush and no matter how working can't see when work. But the Oberman charge him and tell him, say, okay, so when you go, wait tomorrow morning, go to your bush 5 o'clock and do everything you can before 5 o'clock in the evening. And you do that for 2 weeks. You swing in there for 2 weeks. Let's tell the Oberman and saying too lazy if you go walk.
You see, he robbed you. He got the money and he's telling you to work. There was no witchcraft with that. You didn't walk into that patch of land and the crops were there. The Obeah man told you to just get up and work. And you see, he took advantage of you. And that's why the Bible's saying it's a sin to do it. You are abusing your brother. It's not that works. That spell and mixing this with that. That does not work. It's abuse. You are abusing a brother or a sister. You know what I mean? So now let's get into the history side of it. All right, so I'm gonna go into some history on witches first, yeah. So we're gonna go into that, and then we'll break down, the history of all of these things. All right, screen share. All right. So this is from history.com, and the topic is folklore, history of witches. So if you notice, it says folklore, meaning what? A witch isn't like what people think of a witch. It's not real, man. You know what I mean? So many people think of a witch on a broomstick in this pot. And really, a witch and a wizard, that's a drug dealer. You mean that is a modern day witch? Where you put something together to make people feel nice, man. You're bagging up that weed. That's a modern day wizard. you're boiling down crack. That's a wizard and a witch. But I mean, that's the practical form of it. Let's get it. All right. Early witches were people who practiced witchcraft, using magic spells and calling upon spirits for help or to bring about change. Most witches were thought to be pagans doing the devil's work. Many, however, were simply natural healers or so-called wise women whose choice of profession was misunderstood. So let's break down this part, meaning original witches, really they were just natural healers, meaning what? They use herbs. But as time went on, the concept of a witch got misunderstood to where, the spells and the charming. But even here it's saying really a witch was just a natural healer. So a witch was just like a medic. Really, that was the base origin. But as time went on, it went left. It's unclear exactly when witches came on the historical scene, but one of the earliest records of a witch is in the Bible, in the book of 1 Samuel, thought to be written between 931 BC and 721 BC. It tells of the story of when King Saul sought the witch of Endor to summon the dead prophet Samuel's spirit to help him defeat the Philistine army. So I'm gonna stop there. So for the sister Hadassah, this now is gonna answer your question. So we're gonna read 1 Samuel of when Samuel paid a witch to raise Samuel from the dead. And what a lot of people don't understand is that Hadassah's answer is in there. So let's get that. Let's grab 1 Samuel. First Samuel's 28. We could probably start from verse 1.
Book of 1 Samuel 28, verse 1. And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare to fight with the Israelites. And Ashish, Ashi said unto David, knowest thou surely that thou shalt go out with me to battle?
All right. So I'll break it down. So at this time, this is in the southern part of the land, and this is where the Philistines lived. So on that borderline, it was always the kingdom of Judah with a Benjamin always fighting the Philistines. Why? Because they live there. You don't fight people far away. You fight the people that are closest because they're trying to infringe on your land. And the Philistines wanted our land. So the Philistines come together to what? Fight. And King David went out. Now with Saul, before Samuel died, Samuel told Saul that what? The Lord isn't dealing with him anymore. So Saul knew that he was rejected by the Lord. And of course, him being king, all eyes are on him. Everyone's like, Saul, what are we going to do? The Philistines are coming, man. You mean, yeah. It's like, yeah, we've sent out King David, but listen, man, like we have a problem right here. And being a king, the pressure was on him. So, you know, the Lord wasn't dealing with Saul. So let's see what Saul did in his carnality. Let's skip to verse 5. No, sorry, verse 3.
Go on. That thou shalt go out with me to battle, thou and thy men. And David said unto Achish, surely thou shalt know what thy servication, no, sorry, servantication, that servant can do. And Achish said to David, therefore I will make thee keeper of mine head forever.
So remember now, King David, he's prophesied to be king, and everyone likes David. Even his brother Achish right here, he said to David, you're gonna be my head forever. Meaning, you mean even though Saul was the king, everyone gravitated to King David. Everyone just liked his vibe. He was fighting, he was defending the land. So even though Saul was king by name, David was king by everyone. Everyone knew really this man's meant to be the king, man. Everyone liked David. You know what I mean? If you get where I'm coming from. Saul is king by name, but really everyone likes David. David has the reputation. Everyone likes him. Everyone's comfortable being under David. So Saul seeing these things, you know, he's feeling uncomfortable. Read on.
Verse 3. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him, and buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits and wizards.
So now, now with Samuel, he's dead. So he buried him in his homeland or his village town. And of course, Saul, all those that practice witchcraft, he kicked them out. So they had to live on the outskirts of the land because they was dealing with witchcraft, necromancy. So of course, that's against our laws. So Saul kicked them all out of the land. But now he's thinking, yo, like the Lord ain't working with me. What should I do? Read on.
Verse 4. And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came and pitched in Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa.
All right. So now the Philistines, they've set up a camp. They have pitched in a patch of land. So meaning they're getting ready for war. So basically they're gonna rest their night in this encampment, and then in the morning they're gonna go to war. Why? Because they've walked for so long. You can't walk for so long and go to war. So in ancient times, what a lot of people did, you would walk for a long time, then you would pitch in a place. So you set up your tents, have your guards, rest at night, then in the morning, then have the battle. You know what I mean? So they've pitched there. So that's showing that in the morning, these Philistines are going to war. It is going to happen. They've pitched, meaning they're resting now, sharpening their swords, and in the morning, it's going to be a war. Read on.
Verse 5. And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled.
So listen, man, Saul saw the army of the Philistines and he was afraid, man. Why? Because Saul knows the Lord isn't with him. And let that be a lesson to all of us. When the Lord ain't with you, you better be afraid, man. When the Lord ain't blessing you, when the Lord ain't blessing your hands, you better be afraid, because you know it's not going to work. You know, if the Lord ain't with you, you can put your hands to many things. You can have so many ideas, so many aspirations, and none of it's going to work simply because the Lord ain't with you. And Saul knows it. How? Because Samuel told him. Samuel told him that the Lord has rent the kingdom from you. So he sees the Philistines like, we're going to lose. Why? Because the Lord ain't with Saul. He knows, listen, if the Lord ain't with me, these men are going to go to war and they're going to die because the Lord isn't with me. So let's find out what Saul did next. Read on.
And verse 6. And when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets.
And listen, man, Saul inquired of the Lord, and the Lord isn't dealing with Saul. He inquired by dream. He inquired by a Urim, meaning the dice of the priest, and you know what I mean, and by a prophet. And everyone's like, nah, the Lord ain't dealing with you, man. He never got no answer from the Lord. And you know, we better be afraid, because that can be us, man. If we don't serve the Lord ain't dealing with you. No matter what you do, you just won't get it, man. Not by a dream. No prophet has the answer. Anything you want, any answer of the Lord, you just won't get. And that will Saul. Read on.
Verse 7. Then said Saul unto his servant, seek me a woman that hath familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her.
And listen, the Lord ain't dealing with him. And look at what he does, man. The Lord isn't dealing with him, and he seeks a witch. Which shows you why the Lord isn't dealing with this man, because he is unfaithful, man. When his back's against the wall, he does anything. He doesn't obey orders. He doesn't like to be told what to do. That's why the Lord isn't dealing with him. Read on. So now, because he didn't get nothing from the Lord, he went to go seek a witch. Read on.
Come on. Behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor. Verse 8. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiments, and he went, and two men with him, and they came to the woman by night. And he said, I pray thee, divine, unto me thy familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee.
So now with Saul, of course, he's a king. He can't be seen dealing with the witch. So he put on other raiment. So he didn't put on the raiment of a king. He put on some, just regular headpiece, regular garments. And he came with two men as well. So he comes to this witch and is like, please, I beg a favor. If you can raise someone up from the dead, who I choose. Which, that happens till this day. People go to a witch and go, listen, I beg a favor. If you can raise up my mom, I miss her. And let's find out. So what happens today also happened in the past. And let's find out what happened. Read on.
Bring unto I shall name unto thee. Verse 9. And the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, or he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits, and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life, to cause me to die?
So of course, she's unaware that she's talking to Saul. She's like, yo, you know that Saul is not allowing any witches. You know what I mean? Do you want me to die? Like, if I do this and Saul finds out, I'm going to die, man. But she doesn't realize she's doing it for Saul because he's in disguise. Read on.
Come on. Verse 10. And Saul sware to her by the Lord, saying, As the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing.
And listen, that shows you a lot about Saul. He doesn't serve the Lord. It's all about him. Imagine this: as a king, your job is to enforce the laws of the Lord, and your tenets, which by the name of the Lord, is fine, man. Don't worry about it. You can do this to me. Meaning Saul broke the rules when he liked. He was a bad king. That's why it's written of in the Bible to show you what not to be. Reader.
Come on. Verse 11. Then said the woman, Whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, Bring me up Saul. Verse 12.
Okay, yeah, reader.
Verse 12. And when the woman saw Samuel, she scribes with a loud voice. And the woman spoke to Saul, saying, Why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul.
All right. So now, if you know what I mean, if talking to people from the dead works, from this verse, how do you know it doesn't work? What part of this verse would you use to show it's a lie?
Is the part when the woman shouted to him and says, Why art thou deceive me?
Yeah. So okay, now if she does this all the time and it works, if Samuel is raised up, why are you afraid? Why are you crying for? Because really it doesn't work. But this time the Lord made it work so that what Samuel could talk to Saul. But really, this does not work. That's why she's crying, meaning she can't raise people from the dead. She can't talk to people in the afterlife. That's why when she done it and she saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice because usually it doesn't work. It shows you all this is nonsense. All that talking to your dead grandmother, all this a woman putting blood in man's food to you know what I mean, so that he won't cheat. All that is a lie. Because when it did happen, she was afraid, meaning it's a hustle, it's a scam. It's not meant to work. But when it did, she cried. Just, you know what I mean, imagine a woman screaming as loud as she can. Why? Because this actually worked. Why? Because this time the Lord wanted it to work. Meaning, for all the years she has been doing it, it's never worked. It shows you these things do not work. Reader.
Verse 13. And the king said unto her, Be not afraid, for what seest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth.
All right, so the word gods in the Hebrew is Elohim. So it can refer to the Most High, yes. It can refer to angels, a king, or someone of a high estate. So this woman now, the Lord has opened her, you know what I mean? The Lord has opened up her eyes now, but of course, for a reason, so that Samuel can tell Saul something. So this woman, she sees angels ascending up and down on the earth. There's lots of angels going up and down. Read on.
Verse 14. And he said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stood with his face to the ground and
There you
bowed.
go. So now, in her vision, she sees an old man in a mantle. Now, when Samuel was alive, he wore a mantle. So Saul knew, well, oh, seems like she's seen Samuel. So out of respect, Saul put his face to the ground. Read on.
To bring me up And Saul answered, I am sore distressed for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me, and and, and answered me no more, neither by prophet nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me that I shall do.
So now that's ridiculous. The Lord isn't working with you no more, and you use the witch to raise Samuel up. And Samuel's like, listen, like, what do you want me to do? You know what I mean? You've woke me up because the Lord ain't dealing with you. Read verse 16.
Verse 16. Then said Samuel, wherefore then doest thou ask of me, seeing the Lord is departed from thee, and is become thine enemy?
So now Samuel's like, well, what do you want me to do? Listen, man, the Lord is your enemy. Like, you know what I mean? You want to talk to me for some advice. Listen, like, Samuel's advice comes from the Lord, and the Lord is your enemy. So, what advice do you want? So, to answer the question that Hadassah had, you see a demon if the Lord wants you to see a demon. So, someone that has seen a demon, or, there's a demon harassing them, you see if the Lord wants you to, like what we're reading in Samuel's, meaning this woman, she doesn't see those things, but this time, because the Lord wanted to tell Samuel something, the Lord allowed this act to work this time. And how do you know this doesn't work? Because when it did work, she was afraid. She was afraid. Now, if this worked all the time, she wouldn't be afraid. She would see this man and go, oh, this is Saul. Oh, this is your dead uncle. But she yelled because it doesn't work. She never saw that before. So it comes down to, if the Lord wants you to see it, if that answers it. So it's not an illusion. You can see it if the Lord wants you to. If the Lord don't want you to see it, then you don't. You know what I mean? So that's the answer for that. But even in this same chapter we are reading, it doesn't work. That's why she was afraid. If that answers it. All right. So Hadassah, if you understand them, give me a con. If not, we'll break it down. All right. Let's get back into history. All right, what was we? So we read about. Oh, it's like I'm reading in the history. I'll come back to that.
Come.
Right. So yeah, we made the point in the Bible about witchcraft, and also what you read in the book of Samuel is the earliest historical record of witchcraft. Not saying it never happened, but the Bible documented it. The witch roused Samuel, who then prophesied the death of Saul and his sons the next day, according to the Bible. Saul's sons died in battle, and Saul committed suicide. So when you read the end of Samuel, Saul dropped on his sword. You know what I mean? He was afraid of the Philistines coming, so it's like, listen, they're not mocking me. Because they would, of course. Imagine that you got your enemy's king. He's going to have a rough day, man. So to avoid that, he just killed himself for the embarrassment, Okay, so other Old Testament verses condemn witches, such as oft-cited Exodus 22:18, which says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." Additional biblical passages caution against divination, chanting, or using witches to contact the dead. So even in history, they know that the Bible forbids these things. Okay, so the rest goes into Germany and more medieval history. You know what I mean? But matter of fact, I'll read some because, of course, in the medieval times, people followed Catholicism, they followed Christianity, and of course, not saying they were righteous, but they hunted witches because they even at that time they knew that the Lord was against it. So, with hysteria really took hold in Europe during the mid 1400s, when many accused witches confessed, often under torture, to a variety of wicked behaviors. Within a century, witch hunts were common, and most of the accused were executed by burning at the stake or hanging. Single women, widows, and other women on the margins of society were especially targeted. Between the years 1500 and 1660, up to 80,000 suspected witches were put to death in Europe. Around 80% of them were women thought to be cahoots with the devil and filled with lust. Germany had the highest witchcraft execution rate, while Ireland had the lowest. So even in medieval Europe, witchcraft was frowned upon. So everyone knew it was something that wasn't right. But the difference between us and them, we knew it didn't work. We did not believe they were connected with the devil. We didn't believe that. In the Bible, we knew it was a scam. We knew it was a hustle, and we ain't supposed to rule over each other by scamming each other. And that is in the Bible. Let's get Leviticus 25 about Israelites oppressing other Israelites. We have a law against it. One second. All right. If you get to Leviticus 25 and 54.
The book of Leviticus 25, verse 54. And if there be not redeemed in these years, then ye shall go out in the year of Jubilee, both he and his children with him.
All right. So now this is going into the year of a Jubilee, which was a release year. So if you was in debt, something happened in your life and it put you in debt, or you done a crime where the cost was so high, the punishment was that you had to work for this person, or you got in debt. Why? Because you love witches, man. Where now you start to become a hired servant because you gave the Obi man all your cows, all your goats, all your chickens, all your crops. This is like anything happened that you lost resources. So now you had to work for someone else because you had nothing. Read on.
Verse 55. For unto me the children of Israel are servants. They are my servant whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God.
There you go. So meaning as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we shouldn't oppress each other. The Lord's saying, as a race of people, the Israelites are mine. You mean you are my servant that I brought out of the land of Egypt? So we shouldn't be oppressing each other, ruling over each other in that way. Why? Because all of us really, we are the servants of the Lord. So if you serve witches, necromancers, a charmer, a wizard, guess what? He's going to rule over you, man. You're going to think he's got the answer. You're going to give him everything. And what? He's going to rule over you. You are going to become his servant, man. You're going to end up going in debt. Why? Because you give him all your cows, all your goats, all your rice. You know what I mean? You are going to give him everything. And then now you are going to become his servant. In the Bible, it's not telling you witchcraft works. It's a scam that oppresses people. One person gets rich, everyone else serves that person, thinking they have their answers, which is what it is all about. All right, I got some more history. So I'm going to get into palm reading next. All right, so this is psalmistry, which is palm reading. All right, psalmistry is the practice of fortune telling through the study of the palm, also known as palm reading, chiromancy, chirology, or chirology. The practice is found all over the world with numerous cultural variations. Those who practice palmistry are generally called palmists, hand readers, hand analysis, or chirologists. So this isn't something that is only exclusive to one race of people. This is something that is internationally known, where many cultures, many races, many kindreds do this a practice, and God's telling us not to do it. So let's read some more. There are many and often conflicting interpretations of various lines and palms. So imagine this. No one can actually 100% understand the palm. I'll read it again. There are many and often conflicting interpretations of various lines of a palmar features. So meaning no one can agree on your hands when they read it. No one can say, on your hand, this means this. On your hand, that line, that means that. And some of them even conflict, meaning two different palm readers will even tell you two different things on the same hand. Go, well, that to me means bad luck. That to me means a good luck. And it's the same hand. So meaning no one can really read your palm. It's conflicting. You get two of the best palm readers on the earth. You give them the same hand and they're going to conflict each other. I'm not making it up. This is what they're saying. Across various teachings of palmistry, palmistry is practiced by Hindus and is still practiced in South India widely as an hereditary job. Oh, you see that there? As a hereditary job, meaning it's passed down by your families. Hereditary means it's family orientated. So in India, there's families that have been palm reading for years, man. The father taught the son, then the son teaches his son, and it's hereditary by several castes. Meaning in India, there's caste, there's high caste, medium caste, low caste, and the dark-skinned Indians tend to be the low caste, man. So when you come to England and you see a dark Indian acting like he's better than you, in India, they don't like him. Yeah, he's an outcast in India. That's why they came to Jamaica and Grenada and Trinidad, because they was the low caste. Do you know what I mean? They come to the islands acting like they're someone when your country don't even like you. That's why you're in the West Indies, because they got rid of you because you was low caste. You know what I mean? It's something they will never want you to know. But they was the trash of India, and that's why they came to Jamaica, Trinidad, Grenada, Montserrat, and you know what I mean, many other islands too, man. Because they was the trash of India. Come off the boats in loincloth and naked and smelling. I'm not making it up, neither. All right, where am I? Yeah. Jobs hereditary by several castes, such as the Akuravan, the Kerala, and is indirectly referred in the Book of Job. So it's referenced in the Book of Job. Now you can research it. In the Book of Job, there is no reference that does palm reading. You know what I mean? Like I said in previous history classes, everyone wants validation in the Bible. While they would teach to you the Bible's not real, the Bible's fake, everyone wants some validation in the Bible. Everyone wants the way to get a stamp of approval is if another religion can find something in the Bible. Even in Islam, they'll teach you the Bible's tampered with. Don't read that. But when it comes time for validation, you know you need a Bible, man. You try to find Muhammad in the Bible. Try to find, Mecca in the Bible. Try to do anything to get your validation. And even Indians, when it comes to palm reading, they try and find some validation in the Bible, which shows you the Bible is the book of the Lord. Because why would you care? Unless you know God is in that book, man. There you go, man. Like what Trooper Karawan said, they tried to find Muhammad in Deuteronomy 18, man. And it's ridiculous. Read it like there's no way you find Muhammad in that. But you try. Why? Because you need your validation. You need that stamp of approval from the book of the Lord, man. All right. This is widely viewed as pseudoscience due to various contradictions between different interpretations and lack of evidence for psalmistry predictions. So, I don't need to get into palm reading too much, but even people that research palm reading tell you it's contradictory. Different palm readers that write books on palm reading, they're contradicting. One author on palm reading, he would tell you, if you're, of course, I'm not palm reading here. I'm just giving you an example. Well, this vein means bad luck, and your hand's got this vein here. It means you're going to fight all your life. He says that. Then another palm reader writes a book, and he's going to tell you, well, that vein is good luck, and that one means you're going to get all the girls. So meaning two people that study palm reading, they even contradict each other, which means what? It doesn't work. No one has the breakdown on your palm, man. No one has an understanding on palm reading. And am I making that up? Absolutely not. This is what the experts say. They're telling you no one really understands the human palm in that kind of way. It is a pseudo science. That word is Greek for fake. So when people say you got a pseudo information, it means fake. So pseudo science means that is fake science, man. Palm reading is pseudoscience. No one can read your palm and give you a breakdown on your life. That science is fake. But if you got a hereditary job, it keeps you in a job, man. You mean you'll never run out of work? Let me tell you something. There could be a recession. A palm reader's always gonna have money, man. Why? Because people always want to know their life. People always want to know what's gonna happen in you know what I mean, in their life. And that's why a palm reader is always gonna have a job, man. A person of familiar spirits is always gonna have a job. Why? Because people always believe those things work. How do you know? Look at the church. The church always makes money. Even when COVID happened, they done church online, man. You had the pastor on one square on the screen, and the members on all these other squares. The church wasn't out of business because people always want to be lied to. People always want to be told what they want to hear. People always want to be told their future is bright, and that's always going to be the problem of life, man. All right, so let's get into necromancy. So let's get into that history. All right, I'll start from here. Okay, so I'll give you the etymology first, yeah? So is that readable on your end or?
The word necromancy is adapted from the Latin necromantia, a loan word from the post-classical Greek, a coupon of ancient Greek necros and dead body.
Okay, so the breaking down what it means. So necromancy in the ancient Greek, you got the word necros, or in English, that part would translate to dead body. Like, you know what I mean? There's people who's heard of necrophilia.
Necrophilia, yeah. People sleep with the dead.
There you go. So even that part, necro, that's again dead, and the philia part is Latin for sex. Even a pedophile, a pedo means young. Philia means sex, meaning they had sex with someone young. You mean so these are ancient Greek words, and the necro means dead, and the philia means sex, meaning you had sex with someone who's dead. So part of necromancy in the etymology, meaning the root of the word, you have necros, which translates for dead. Read on.
The kind Greek compound form was first documented in the writing of Origen of Alexander in the 3rd century CE. The classic Greek term was nekia, from the episode of the Odyssey in which Odysseus visited the realm of the dead soul, and an Hellenistic Greek necromantian in Latin and necromancy in the 17th century English.
There you go. So of course, this is where the word comes from. But now let's go back to the past and find out, its origins, its antiquity, its ancient origins. Read that for me. Antiquity.
The main the magic in the Greco-Roman world. Early necromancy was related to and most likely involved in forms shamanism,
Shamanism, yeah.
which calls upon spirits and such as the ghosts of ancestors. Classical necromancy addresses the dead in mixtures of high pitch, squeaking and low droning, and, and comparable to the trance state. Yeah,
Yeah.
muttering.
Oh, okay. Now, I'll break it down. So, for those of you that don't know, shamanism is a ancient Indian religion. Of course, now they practice Hinduism and different religions now. But in old times, we're going back in the what you would call the biblical days. What the Elamites practiced was called shamanism. So really, it's an Indian concept of being able to talk with the dead, raise the dead, and it goes. They address them by a mixture of high pitched squeaking and low drowning. So meaning those are the sounds they would use in what they believed would get you into contact with the dead, and that's how you know. On a lot of these Hollywood films you watch, they do their research. Of course, it's a film, it's not real. But when they want to communicate with the dead, what sounds do you hear? Some high pitched squeaking sounds. You watch the film, the dead man's coming. That's where they get it from. They get it from the research of shamanism or the low drowning. You watch like Exorcist and films like that where there's low sound. So a lot of these Hollywood directors, they do actually do their research in the films they put together. Read on.
Go on, Khan.
Oh, sorry. I'll break it more. And it goes comparable to the trance state mutterings of the shamans. Even on some films, when someone's possessed, they are a muttering. Again, directors do their homework. So this a shaman from this religion you will go to pretend like he got in contact with your dead mom. He'll start muttering and going in a trance. Like, oh gosh, you know what I mean? They're trying they're trying to communicate in me and start acting, man. You know what I mean? These are things that they would do, and in Hollywood films, you see these things because directors do their homework. Read on.
Necromancy was prevalent throughout antiquity, with records of its practice in ancient Egypt, Babylonia, Greece, Rome, and China in its geographic.
Okay, I got yeah. So meaning it wasn't just only for the Indians in ancient Egypt, meaning the time of Exodus. In ancient Egypt, you know what I mean? The time of the Babylonians, the Greeks, the Romans, meaning these major empires on the face of the earth all practice necromancy, raising the dead, being able to talk to them, being able to communicate with them. And the Lord wants us to be holy. These things don't work. And we are a separate nation of people. You know what I mean? We're separate. Why? Because we got the knowledge of God, man. When you don't have the knowledge of God, you believe in nonsense like this, man. You know what I mean? Yes, we have loved ones that die. And are we allowed to cry? Absolutely. Are we allowed to be sad? Absolutely. But why don't we seek a necromancer? Because we know they're coming back, man. They are dead, but they're coming back. They don't have the knowledge of God like how we do. So they miss him and they miss him. And some wicked person goes, yo, they miss their mom a bit too much, man. You know what? I can talk to the dead. If you pay me £2,000, I'll make you have one last conversation with them, man. And of course, that person being weak at the time, being vulnerable, they take advantage of him, man. In their weakness to go, well, listen, I can do it. If you give me the money, or you give me the rice and peas and then the chicken and the goat. Listen, man, you're talking with Auntie Maurice in no time, man. Auntie Shirley in no time. You know what I mean? You're gonna be talking with them real quick, man. And they abuse you. And in all of these ancient empires, that's what they did. Reader.
Referred to as necromantia, are diviners by the dead, the former practitioners of divination among the people of Persia, and it is believed to have also been this widespread among the people of Chaldea, particularly Hermeticists or star worshippers.
Okay, no, well, yeah, all right, yeah, we've made the point out of that. Don't want to rinse it dry. But yeah, what you're gonna realize is, listen, none of that works, and many nations practiced it, and look, it does not work, man. It is a hustle, and those things don't work. And it's not that God doesn't want you doing it because He's afraid you'll, seek something somewhere else. It's a hustle, and we can't abuse each other. As a nation of people, how are we gonna love each other if you're taking advantage of me? I've lost my dead mom, and well, listen, this man's missing a bit too much, man. You know what I mean? Listen, if you give me all your goats, you can have one last conversation with him, man. You know what I mean? Let's get Leviticus 19 and 18.
Leviticus 19. The book of Leviticus 19, verse 18. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people.
All right, so in Leviticus 19, a lot of these laws, it's about a brotherhood. In your own time, you start from verse 1, it's telling you don't do this, don't do that, don't defraud your neighbor, don't do this. Why? Because how are we going to live together if you're defrauding me? Which is in verse 13, but we're not going to get that for time's sake. But listen, like, if you're hustling me by you can raise the dead, you can a palm read, we don't love each other because you are taking advantage of me. You can't take advantage of someone and love them at the same time. And these laws in Leviticus 19, it's about unity. It's about us living amongst each other, not having to kill each other, not having to hate each other, not having to put each other to death because one brother's taking advantage of another. So it says, don't bear a grudge, nor avenge. So meaning learn to forgive. Part of having a successful community or a successful country is a law of forgiveness, man. A law of letting things go. Because why? If you can't let things go, we can't live together. Because you're always going to want revenge. You're always going to want get back. And what? I can't be a next door neighbor because I've always got to look out, man. I've got to go to bed with one big sword on my right-hand side because you might come to my house and try and hack me in 100 bits, man. So this is talking about unity all throughout Leviticus 19. Read on.
Come on. Leviticus 19 verse. Love thy brother as thyself. I am the Lord.
And you should love your neighbor as yourself, man. I am the Lord. And you wouldn't want no one scamming you. You wouldn't want no one saying, listen, you know what I mean? You miss your Uncle Michael. You know what I mean? I can make you talk to him again, you know. You know what I mean? And that person's robbing you. Meanwhile, in your mind, you believe it, man. You believe it. Like, listen, like, I spoke to him one last time and he told me he missed me. And you know what I mean? He misses those young days and you know what I mean? And is it me? They say very generic stuff. Meaning, it's nothing pinpoint. It's like saying, I remember you when you was young. Wow. You know what I mean? And unless you got dementia, you're always gonna remember someone when they was young. Like that's neither here nor there. I love you. I want to be with you again. Like those things are very generic. There's nothing they say that, whoa, this is me. Why? Because he's talking his mind. He's not communicating with one of your lost loved ones. 1 second. Just falsely. If you skip up to verse 11.
Verse 11. Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie to one another.
And there you go, man. If you're doing palm reading, you are dealing falsely with your brother, man. If you're claiming to be some necromancer or some wizard, you are dealing falsely with your brother, man. You are robbing him or her. You are an abuser. You are abusing them in their weakness. And the Lord doesn't want our nation doing those things. The Lord doesn't want blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians taking advantage of each other. So that's the class. And let's give everyone a hand, man. Got a trooper, Amawasar. Excellent reading, man. A trooper, a Carawan in the building. So with that, we're going to play a Passover adverts. And listen, man, April 1st, the Passover, North Raleigh, Carolina. We recommend that you use the shuttles we have here. Avoid your own transport as much as you can here. You know what I mean? Be safe with the Akim. All right, man? So with that, let's get to it.
If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood I lay my life down right now for all my sisters and brothers, because I love them. I see them dapping and hug them. It's amazing to see how well we adapt from the struggle. Born again from a life of sin, trapped in the gutter. My mind frame was to kill my own kind. Feeling inferior, waking up ready to die. Run with them killers, so it's just a matter of time. For why take your life or let you take mine? That's when I realized the slaves killing slaves while the white man live to get old. We in them graves, the shit got me feeling plain. I opened the Bible, went through them records, found out we was royalty, a nation to be respected. But in this world we rejected, we hated for our complexion. Still fighting to get accepted. We hear the truth and reject it, but love is getting corrected. And all my niggas correct me. The commandments, the foundation we erected. Brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon.
Hey, Shalom Israel. This is a public service announcement to all the sisters out there. Y'all already know what time it is. Them Passover corsages is blooming absolutely right this year. If you a married sister, rock that red corsage. And for all the single sisters out there, the white corsage was made just for you. Stop playing. You cannot be Passover ready without rocking one of these. Just $10 to complete that fit for the Lord's 54th annual Passover. Pre-order yours now. Click the link below for more info. For just $10, I got a feeling that this is just the right batch of flowers to have you looking on point and official. Sisters, make it your business to get you one, and we hope to see you there. Shalom Israel.
And we can try. So I spit juju, I taste the whole thing. Taking my style, I'm far from a linger, just let me put it down, baby. She on the road, can get around in my coupe, me and you, we just cruising through the town lately. Ask me some questions, girl, do you mind? What would it take to make you mine, please? Tell me be you, and we can try. So I spit juju, I taste the whole thing. Taking my style, I'm far from a linger, just let me put it.
Shalom Israel, and when I mean Israel, I'm talking about the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. The Lord's 54th annual Passover is going down again this year, sundown, April 1st at 500 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Downtown Conventional Center. It's got enough room for all of us. The Lord's 54th annual Passover. Last year, brothers and sisters showed up from all over the world, rocking ancient garments and glorious apparel in order to serve the Most High in Christ. Now, it's that time again. Commander General Yohana's putting out the decree for all brothers and sisters to show up sundown, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us at the Sheridan in Raleigh, the hotel right downtown. It's at 421 South Salisbury. The Passover is right up the block at the Convention Center, literally within walking distance. Make sure you pull up. Make sure that you do your due diligence because rooms are going fast and they are limited this weekend. You understand? We have months in advance of preparation. Do not wait till the last minute to get your room. The Lord's 54th annual Passover, Saturday, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us there.
It's about time, sending curses to them enemies.
ISUPK presents the 54th annual Feast of Unleavened Bread. Last year we did it big. This year is going to be way big. More brotherhood, more sisterhood, more UPK. On Sunday, April 2nd, 2023, we're going to be at 421 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Sheraton Raleigh Hotel Ballroom. We're calling all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to come join us.
Oh yeah, it's going down. Join us for this year's All Black Party, hosted by Commanding General Yohana and the ISUPK. This year, it's going down in Durham, North Carolina at the Durham Armory. Last year, brothers and sisters came out from all over the world. It was a packed house to celebrate the 2022 Hebrew Academy graduates. These brothers faced life and death, and as a result, they were honored on this night for their sacrifice and their victory at the gauntlet. But wait, this year, it's going down. There will be a Hebrew concert featuring Captain Akai, 144 the Rebel, King Ty, Captain Ty Ward, One Westworld,
Had all people colorblind. We reside somewhere in the midst of ancient Palestine.
Lost Tribes, Captain Katazai,
because the righteous are as bold as a lion. Iron sharpens iron.
I Won Ya Allah,
because we're rebellion, stubborn, stiff necks,
also known as Dope E, and Officer Natazai, UPK. PK Natazov, and much more. It's going to be an open bar. Make sure that you get your tickets. It's going down this year, 2023, the 54th annual Passover and the annual All Black Party, hosted by Commanding General Yohana and the ISUPK.
Still blessed until we rise.